Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today for our virtual accommodation open day. My name is Glenda Campbell and I'm the ResLife manager for Belfast and Jordanstown campuses. This is your opportunity today to hear from a ResLife team and a past resident to hear all about what life is like living on campus. You will have the opportunity to explore our virtual accommodation tours and our campus tours, and you'll be able to find out what life's really like living here to give you a sense and flavour of living at Ulster. This is the start of your Ulster University journey and we're here to help and support you all the way. So we're going to introduce you now to Una McAllister, our ResLife manager from Magee campus, to hear what life's like at Magee. Hi Una.
Hiya.
You're a parent, Una, I know that, a bit of background information, and you've got a son who's going to university this year. Why did you as a family choose ResLife?
Well, the first thing that me and Jack did was that we sat down and did some research on what accommodation is available out there at the minute. So what we quickly found out was that university accommodation is still the most popular accommodation for first years. And to be honest, I was really relieved about that, because when Jack is thinking about accommodation, he's thinking about having a good time, he's thinking about being independent, he's thinking about being with his friends. Whereas when I'm thinking about accommodation, I'm thinking about, is he going to be safe? Is he going to be secure? Is there going to be people there looking out for him? So when you look at what ResLife does, it does all that. It's a 24/7 wraparound service. There's always going to be somebody there for Jack if he needs any support at all. So with ResLife, we both get what we want.
As a parent, that's really reassuring. So that's all included in the price. What else is included in the costs?
So included in the rent is your heating, is your electricity, your maintenance, your most important thing, which is Wi-Fi, is included as well.
So you mentioned Wi-Fi, and obviously for residents these days, having good Wi-Fi is like having water.
Yeah. So when students arrive on campus and they go to their bedrooms, they'll find the instructions to get on the Wi-Fi as soon as they get here, because it's really important. But the Wi-Fi is unlimited. It is 50 meg and it is gives really brilliant coverage across the campus, across all social areas. In the bedroom, they'll be able to go on 4 or 5 devices if they want. And it's even in the laundry, so they'll have no excuse not to do their laundry.
We do have a laundry on campus.
Yes,
but good laundry. It is likely that your son's going to bring his laundry back at the weekend. You do know that.
I don't think so.
Okay, so go back to the pricing then. What are the payment options that are available to our residents?
So there's 3 payment options available. So the first one is you could pay all at once, or you can pay over the 37 weeks of your contract. Or the other way is you can pay in 3 instalments, which are timed to match your student loan.
That's great. And the 37 weeks you mentioned there for the contracts, and the recurring card payments is a monthly payment, and then the 3 instalments, that's by direct debit. It's important but that they have an adult bank account.
Yeah, something that I didn't know until recently was that if you have opened an account and you're under 18, then when it comes to direct debits, you won't be able to set that up. So I would really advise any students come to check out their account and maybe check that out and make sure it's an adult account that they have, or their direct debits won't work.
Fantastic. So sometimes things don't go according to plan. What happens if a student finds themselves in financial difficulty?
So if a student finds themselves in financial difficulty, the first thing I would say would be to come and speak to us. We're here for any issue at all. But we do have a team called the Wellbeing team, and in that they have student money advisors who are specifically there to deal with any student that might have financial difficulty, and they will direct them on the student hardship fund, which again is available for anybody that finds himself in that position. But I would reiterate, the key is any issue at all, please come and talk to us.
Yeah, and there's no shame and no stigma in our culture in Ulster if you find them in financial difficulty. Let's talk about the exciting bit then of when students actually arrive and what they can look forward to. What do we do to help them settle into accommodation?
Well, when students arrive, they arrive on what we call Arrivals Weekend, and we put a lot of work into what that's going to look like. We have a marquee here, we'll have live music, we'll have free food, which is really important, and the campus will be buzzing. So students arrive, they arrive with their families, they get their keys, they meet the team, and then they go to their flats and meet all their flatmates. So that weekend we try to put on activities that will encourage them to get to know their flatmates, as well as get to know all the other residents on the campus. So there was a real buzz about the campus, and we really try to create a festival sort of atmosphere where students can relax and really just get to know each other.
Yeah, and we really want them to come up and stay that first weekend so that they make those connections very early on. And then we're going to be talking to Michael later on, the ResLife coordinator, but we run a full events programme right throughout the year.
Yeah, so we do, the events programme is all about creating a community. For the full year, it's not just a one-off thing, but what we try to do is do what the students want. So it's student-led, so it changes every year in terms of what the activities are. But for, we find maybe in the last few years, more students want gaming activities. So we have gaming nights, and this is the Hive that we're on at the minute. So a lot of events happen here, and students all come here, and it's called the Hive, but we'll say there is a real buzz about here in terms of dropping in, and there's just always something's happening here. But it is all about the students and what they want.
Yeah, and get them connected. So there's a lot of staff here as part of the ResLife team. Tell me a little bit more about them.
So the ResLife team, firstly, everybody should know that we operate 24/7, so there will always be someone here to talk to. But during the day we have us, the managers, and we have our admin team in the office, and I have to say the admin team in the office know everything. So if anybody needs anything, needs a question answered, they will go the extra mile, so call into the office during the day. But in the evening we have our ResLife coordinators, who are like the managers at night. And we also have our RAs, who are our resident assistants. So they are returning students, so they know what it's like to be a first year. They know what it's like to come here for the first time. So they are there to look after the students as well. So the students will meet them on Arrivals Weekend. So they will be there running the events and engaging and connecting with all the students when they arrive throughout the year as well. And then we also have our night assistants, who come on at 9 o'clock at night. And they are there right through the night, again, as someone who can reach out, or people can reach out to, rather. And then across the campus we also have security, the university security. So basically, no matter what, if you're sick, if you're hurt, if you're maybe in crisis, or if you just need somebody to chat, or maybe you're just locked out of your flat, there's always going to be somebody here for you.
That's good. And as a parent, that's so reassuring that we have that invisible safety net that's here just at the point of need for the residents. I'm now going to introduce you to Clodagh Scott, our ResLife manager from the Coleraine campus. Clodagh, we focus a lot on students' wellbeing in ResLife. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, Glenda. The students' wellbeing is our priority, and that was the reason why 2 years ago we decided to introduce the ResLife coordinators role. So we have 6 of those across the 3 residential campuses. So there's always somebody on site when the students are, perfect. The ResLife coordinators organise a range of events which really focus on life skills, for want of a better word. So the students really have the opportunity to learn to cook, to look after themselves. And really, by the time it comes to April, May, there's a real change in the students. They're so confident.
Yeah, we see that development, don't we, of how they change as nervous first-year students walking through the door.
Yeah, so much more confident. They've embraced their studies, and they've met so many people that they're actually buzzing.
So, Clodagh, let's talk about how residents apply for accommodation.
It's a very straightforward process, Glenda. There's an online application. And already we have emailed all the students that put Ulster as their CF and CI on the UCAS system and invited them to apply for accommodation. I have to say that last year we won an award for the best application process, which was absolutely fabulous for us.
Yeah, that was out of 225 other UK universities, so we were delighted with that. And they used their B number, so it's something maybe that our residents haven't heard before. We talk about a B number lots in university.
Yeah. The B number, they've been given their B number, and that's their student registration number, which takes them through their academic career.
Okay. And we offer a guarantee to all first-year students.
All first-year students that apply before the 7th of July are offered an accommodation guarantee, as long as Ulster is their CF choice in UCAS, which is their first choice on UCAS. That's a really, really important thing to remember. Applications are dealt with in date order, so as long as you apply by the 7th of July, you're more than likely to get your first choice.
Great. And it's a no hassle, no obligation. They just put a booking fee on the application?
Absolutely. If the students then subsequently don't want to take our accommodations, that's fine. The £100 booking fee will be refunded.
Yeah.
But if they accept the offer, the £100 booking fee is non-refundable.
Yeah.
But I have to emphasise it's without obligation. At this stage, we encourage them to apply for accommodation.
And when do our room offers go out?
Really, really, really busy day. So the first stage will be the 10th of August. That's when the A-level results are out. And I understand that the leave insert is going to be later in September, but we're really, really aware of that.
Yeah, and for returning students, we've already started allocation, but for our first years, we guarantee that space, so as long as they meet that deadline. What happens if they, like me, sometimes I'm a little bit slow and a little bit late, if they miss that deadline, what happens then?
We will continue allocating rooms as long as we have rooms, and in general, demand meets supply. But I would just encourage people, we have had so many applications already, encourage people to apply early.
Yeah, great. We have two main different room types that are really popular with our first years. There are different types of accommodation on all of our campuses, but there's two that really attract our first year students.
All the accommodation is self-catering, so they all will be sharing the kitchen, and that's really important for them to have the opportunity to mix with their flatmates.
Yeah.
But there's two main options, as you say. So there's an ensuite room. That's a bedroom where you have your own bathroom, you have your own shower and your own WC, and that's down to yourself. Then we have a standard room in a self-contained 6-bedroom house or apartment where you're sharing the showers and toilets with your flatmates. And there's usually 5 or 6 people in the apartment, but there's usually 2 showers and 2 toilets. So they should not get too congested.
Yeah.
And most importantly, those showers and toilets are cleaned every week by our fabulous housekeeping team.
Yes, and they tend to be a little bit cheaper than the ensuite accommodation, so it suits those who are on a slightly less budget.
I would encourage people to look at their room choice because they have to be conscious of their budget. We want to give the students the accommodation meets their needs and their budget. And I think Una talked about NI Student Finance, great budgeting tool. So please have a look at that and work out which option's best for you.
And when they're making an application, they can choose to live with friends.
Yes, absolutely. It's their choice if they want to. The majority of people coming to uni don't know too many people, and they see it as a great opportunity to meet people from all over the world. But if they want to live with their mates, they just decide on a group name and pop it in the application and we will allocate them together.
Yeah, but it's an opportunity, as you say, to come and broaden your horizons, make a bigger network and make more friends. We often allocate students who are on the same course together. Why do we do it like that?
Because they have something in common and their timetables are similar. And that's really, really good when they first arrive. They think, oh, you're doing, oh, brilliant. And it starts the chat. So yes, we would generally do that. But there's a great notes section, so if they definitely want that, they should put it in the notes section. That's really, really a good opportunity for them to tell us what they want, so we can help them with the allocations.
And we know that students who live in university accommodation have better academic outcomes. And part of the reason for that is because they're living in an environment where teaching and learning is going on all the time, and living with people who are on the same course. That's got benefits too, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we are ResLife. We are part of the university. We have connections with every other department in the university, including the academics. So if somebody is having any difficulty, we're perfectly placed to provide advice. You won't get that in the private sector.
Yeah, and it's really useful to have all of that support. So if I'm coming to university and my best mate happens to be a boy or a male, can I live in a mixed gender accommodation?
Mixed gender has become increasingly popular, and yes, it's your choice. All again, on the application, you can apply for single gender, mixed gender, and also there's a new one over the last few years, which is alcohol-free. Generally quieter, but it's become increasingly popular.
Yeah, I think something like 15% of our residents last year chose to live in alcohol-free, which is a great opportunity for those who still want to come and enjoy life, but don't necessarily have to drink alcohol. We talked then about the application form. There is a section about medical needs and accessibility. We have a very strong culture in Ulster of supporting students and widening access. Tell me a little bit about that.
Do you know, Glenda, it troubles me when people don't tell us that they have a medical condition, whether it's anxiety or autism or a physical disability. They need to tell us. I hate the idea of somebody struggling because they didn't provide us with the information. We work really, really closely with the Wellbeing team to make sure the transition to university for every student is as smooth as possible. And if a student requires any adaptations or additional support, that's in place when they arrive. And that would be so reassuring.
Yeah, and that's it. We're here to help, and we want to provide that level of help. We also offer room transfer. So if you go into the private sector and you don't get on with your flatmates and things fall apart, even if they are your best friends, you're stuck with that situation. That's not the case at Ulster.
No. Again, it's important that they keep in touch. Keep the lines of communication open. Our office staff are fabulous. They are so, they're so forward thinking, given that they're all of a certain age. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, but they are so, they treat the students like their own kids, and they would encourage them to come and chat. And if somebody wants to move to another room, certainly we will do our best, as long as we have a room to move them to.
We do treat every application individually, but sometimes if it's not right, we can easily fix it. And we've seen it before. We can start again and get someone in with a group of people that they really get on with. Let's talk about COVID. Well, obviously, we've been through a lot of changes with the pandemic. What have we done at ResLife during the pandemic?
I have to say, the university has done the right thing. When COVID was introduced in March, April 2020, automatically students were released from their contracts and were allowed to go home. This was without financial penalty. However, there was a lot of students that weren't able to go home. We had home students who wanted to stay for whatever reason, and we had a large number of international students because the borders closed. So we continued to support those students. ResLife remained on campus and open and active to provide the continuing service for all our students. Moving forward to 2021, we have been very, very adaptable and flexible. We've worked with our health and safety department to make sure all the controls were in place for ResLife to operate with the safety, security and the wellbeing of our students and staff. If a student still wanted to leave university, we were very, very empathetic, and each case was treated individually. But if there was any suggestion that that person was vulnerable or a member of their family was vulnerable, they were released from their contract. Going forward, I have to say, the students that have stayed have been so positive. They've remained within their bubble, they've had a really good time, they've really appreciated their study space and the Wi-Fi. Some in fact went home and then came back again because there was so much going on at home where they could actually focus on their studies when they were with us. And we have to give all praise to our students. They have shown so much resilience. Imagine going to university and all of a sudden being told, okay, you're going to be using Zoom instead of going to a nightclub. And they have adapted to online learning and have embraced their studies and have been amazing.
Yeah, it's been great. And we have such lovely green open spaces on all our campuses that they've been able to enjoy that. Claudia, it's been great chatting this morning.
Yes, thanks very much, Glenda.
Thank you. Now, let's hear from our ResLife coordinator, Michael, from our Coleraine campus. Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining us today.
Glenda.
First of all, tell me a little bit about yourself, because you are a previous Ulster student, graduate.
Yes, I'm an Ulster alum, yes. So I studied here. I went to the Coleraine campus where I done my undergraduate in psychology. And then I came over here to Magee and I studied my master's in psychology again.
Great. And your journey then, you're with us as a ResLife coordinator for how long now?
So this will be my second year coming up now into the role. Really enjoying it so far. It's been a lot of fun getting out meeting the students and getting really involved. Yeah, really enjoying it.
That's great. So we have your spokesperson today, because we've got 5 others behind the scenes at Jordanstown, Coleraine and Magee. And What is the role of ResLife coordinators? Because this is something new that Clodagh's mentioned earlier on. It's a new role that we brought on board as part of the ResLife team.
Yeah, so I think some people might see us as party planners, and there's definitely an element of that in the job because we organise lots of events for the residents, but we're a lot more than that. So my working day starts at 5 p.m. in the evening. So we come on to shift and we really lead the teams in the evening. So that's working really closely with our residential assistants, our night support assistants, to provide that pastoral and residential support to the residents in the evening.
And that journey all begins at Arrivals Weekend when we have our welcome marquee. Tell me a little bit about what you do as a ResLife coordinator to help residents settle in at arrival.
Yeah, so getting a resident settled in, getting into uni life, that transition, that's really, really important. So we are there whenever they move in the first time. It's really, I suppose, appreciating that that's a really anxious time or can be apprehensive for some people. I think back my own experience coming to university, I was nervous about making that new move, going to somewhere new for the first time, and that's why we're here. We're here to make that as stress-free as possible. And hopefully, for our residents coming in, knowing that they have someone there will make that a little bit easier for them.
Yeah, they want to make friends in that first few days. What do you do then to help them make friends?
So to make friends, we're going to have lots and lots of events planned. And we would really encourage you to get stuck into those events. Whenever you arrive, we're going to have welcome marquees set up on every campus. And that's where you'll go to collect your keys during the day. And then in the evening times, we're going to sort of transform that into our hub of welcome events. And we're going to be having lots of things happening there. We're going to be having lots of games, quizzes, music, and lots of free food. Free food is always popular with our residents.
We know that students don't necessarily always want to cook and they don't necessarily always have a lot of money. So if we feed them, they come.
They come, yes, no doubt.
Welcome Week, it's our favourite time of year, isn't it? So we really want to engage with the residents before they come to university, isn't that right?
Yes, and we really want to get their feedback and find out what they want to see. So our plans is we're kind of going for a festival feel welcome. So we want to have a really fun atmosphere, really good buzz in the student village, but we're really keen to hear what our residents want. What they want to engage with. So in the coming weeks we're going to be launching out a Facebook poll on our Facebook pages. So that'll just be at ResLife, followed by the campus name. So I'd really encourage you to pop on there, have a wee nosy through, get involved with the polls, and let us hear your thoughts.
Yeah, because every year coming through is different, and we don't assume that we know what the next group of students coming through want, so it's good to hear their voice. What can they look forward to then after September?
Well, as we say, Welcome Week was a lot of fun, so there's a lot of buzz with the Welcome Weekend and the Freshers Week, so we want to keep that momentum going. So we're going to have lots and lots of events planned, so it's really a jam-packed events calendar. And again, it is all about getting involved with that, and I would really encourage our residents just to get stuck in. It's a really good opportunity to meet lots of new people. Living in halls is probably that's one of the more unique aspects of it. You get to meet people from all over the world that you wouldn't get to meet otherwise. So getting involved, meeting new people, learning new skills, trying something new, and developing that sense of independence. And that might be cooking in our Hungry in Halls events.
You mentioned our Hungry in Halls.
Yeah.
For those watching today, tell us a little bit about Hungry in Halls and what that actually is.
Hungry in Halls, that's something I wish I had whenever I first moved away from home, I think for the first time. Really acknowledging that students don't always know how to cook for themselves. So what we do is we've got 8 weeks of recipes. They're all sort of healthy recipes that you can do on a budget. We give them all the food, all the recipes, tell them how to do it, and they're able to go off in their households and with their friends and cook up. It's all a bit of crack, but you're learning those valuable skills along the way as well.
So we provide the food, we provide the recipe, we encourage them to cook together as a family within their little household group, and we don't get a taste of results, but we like to get the feedback
sometimes
from them.
They get a wee taste of the food, sometimes.
The benefits of working at night, okay. And you did lots of online events this year. Is that going to continue this year?
Yeah, well, we had, I think like the rest of the world, everything had to move online, so all of our events went online, and our residents really done a great job of embracing that and getting stuck into that. Obviously, they were kind of hopeful that we'll be able to go to a more sense of normal in September, but we definitely had a lot of good feedback. So some of our more popular ones will still be sticking with that in
So
September.
what was the most popular? I know that Discord was a big one this
Yes,
year, which I'd never heard of prior to this year.
Neither had I, to be honest. But yes, our Discord was really, really popular. It was kind of like our online ResLife community. So you were able to go on, there was like an online chat feature, they were able to stream movies and play games together. So it was really popular when we planning on launching that again in September.
Great, so for those online gamers, that's one that we're going to keep for the next coming year. And what kind of feedback did you get from the residents this year about their experience living on campus?
We got lots of really good feedback. I think they really appreciated the efforts and the supports they received from staff throughout the year. And despite the challenges that they had, I think they've done a really good job at getting involved and making the best of their situation. They were able to make some really good friends and create those memories and have that experience. Fortunately, living on campus, we've got lots of really nice green spaces, so they were able to get out and about and really make the most of that, with our picnic areas, barbecue areas and campus trails.
And what was your favourite event this year?
I think my favourite event would be our end of year barbecue. After a year of online events, it was really nice to be able to get everyone outside and mixing together, and the food was really, really good, and the sun came out, and it was just a really good way to sort of finish the year on a high.
Great, and you had some ice cream for afterwards, and we'll not promote any particular brand.
No.
So what piece of advice would you give students thinking about applying for accommodation?
I would tell them to do it. As I said earlier, I think back on my own experience, and it is an apprehensive time, and I think back, and now especially working here as a staff member, I see the crack the students are having. They're out and about, they're mixing and what they're getting up to, and I didn't do living in halls, and I look back and I wish I did.
Yeah.
And
we often say that we're here to support them in their academic journey as well, and obviously that's the reason that they come to university in the first place. We also focus on supporting them during exam times. What do we do special around those key dates?
So again, exams are very important for their academics, so we really want to make sure that they're supported during that time, so they know that the team are here. They just have to pick up the phone and they can have a wee chat with us. As ResLife coordinators, we're really well connected within the university. We've made good relationships with our sports centres, our students' union and our student wellbeing team, so we're able to connect them with the appropriate service if they need that. We also will be running lots of wellbeing sessions, sort of maybe study tips, and the Hive is always open and they're able to come down and get a wee chat with us.
So that's when they're in small hours and they're still cramming at the last minute. They can
be there.
Call in for some healthy drinks and some healthy water, and we promote the good sleep. So looking forward, we've got some trips planned as well. I know that my favourite would always be the Foil Festival at Halloween, which we run buses to, and it's a cross-campus event. Yeah. What other events have they got to look forward to? Yeah,
so the trips are always really popular every year. We've done some really good ones, as you say, the Foil Festival. For our Game of Thrones fans, we've done lots of tours there. We've done the coastal route and the one in County Down. We've had the Christmas markets up in Belfast, the Goblins coastal tour, St Patrick's Day in Dublin, so lots and lots happening, something for everybody. And again, really keen to get your feedback. Maybe there's somewhere we've missed, somewhere that you might have a good idea we can go and visit, and really keen to hear that.
Brilliant, thank you. It's been lovely chatting to you, Michael.
Yes, and you, Glenda.
I have great pleasure introducing Matthew, a resident assistant from our Coleraine campus. Matthew, it's lovely to see you actually in person. We've spoke a lot this last year, but always over Zoom, because I'm in Jordanstown and you're in Coleraine. Tell me a little bit about yourself first of all.
So I'm Matthew. I've just finished my second year in Coleraine. My degree is History with Education, and I'm an avid Flag American football player.
Okay, great. That's interesting. And how many years have you actually lived on campus?
So I've just finished living my second year on campus, and I'll be returning next year for my third and final year.
We really can't get rid of you, can we?
Not at all, not at all.
Okay, so you lived as a first year as a resident, and then you had the opportunity to become a resident assistant. Tell me a little bit about the role of a resident assistant.
So a residential assistant is a returning student or a postgraduate student who already has experience within the university and living in accommodation. The role of a residential assistant means that we work alongside the ResLife coordinators to bring a sense of community within the student villages. So we work in the evenings and we provide a reception service and advice for students, as well as creating a number of events. We're basically walking, talking signposts around the campus to help students have the best experience possible. We're basically your go-to people while you're on campus with us.
And obviously I'm a little bit older, just a little bit older than you, Matthew, and students really much closer to you because you've had that recent experience. Tell me a little bit about what it was like for you. What's your memories of moving into accommodation for the first time?
It's daunting. It's a big campus. I think all three campuses are big, and moving from Portadown, where I'm from, moving into that environment and all different faces, new accents and new people to get used to, it can be really scary, but I think having the residential assistants there, the ResLife coordinators and the office staff has really made that transition from pre-university to during university life really easy.
Okay. So we understand it's quite normal for everyone to feel a little bit anxious when they first arrive. So what made you want to become an RA?
Becoming an RA has been really based on the idea of wanting to help people. During the pandemic, I've struggled with university work in first year, and knowing going into second year that there'll be new students who haven't experienced university at all, never mind university in the pandemic, was really something that touched me and wanted me to give the opportunity to give back to the university that helped me by helping the new students coming in.
Okay. Tell me a little bit how you were helped then whenever you first arrived into accommodation.
So when I first arrived in, I had the residential assistants meet me, greet me, and make me feel really welcome. They showed me to my room and showed me everything that the university accommodation offers. They also showed me around the campus a little bit because they are big and they are scary at times, but you soon get used to the layout.
Yeah, obviously we become very familiar very quickly, and it's easy for us, but that first time it's important to have someone show you around. So what is a typical day in the life of a resident assistant?
I don't think there is a typical day in the life of a resident assistant. They all sort of change and they vary depending on the needs of the students. At the beginning, we would help our students with Arrivals Week and Welcome Week to let them sort of integrate themselves back into the campus. And also, it can be a daunting experience, so we really try and provide a service to make them feel at home and to make them feel welcome. We also provide that reception service, so if a student ever gets locked out, or we have the different events to make them really feel welcome in the campus.
Yeah, so we did lots of online events and events that were within the bubbles this year. But let's talk about what's happening next year, because you're coming back as an RA, so for anyone watching, they're going to see you on Arrivals Weekend in our Welcome Marquee tent. Tell me, what have we got to look forward to in 2021?
So I'm really looking forward to sports tournaments. As I've already said, I'm an avid flag American football player, so I'll really be encouraging residents to get out and get involved in sport. Also, I missed out on going to the Goblins trip last year, which is one of our cross-community and one of our cross-campus events, which are really helpful for students to get in contact with different students from different campuses as well.
Okay, so Goblins is not one for me because I'm scared of heights. You mentioned there that that's a cross-campus event where we all go from all three different campuses, is that right?
Yeah, so it's basically where Jordanstown, Magee and Coleraine all come together for a trip, and it's really helpful for students to get to know other students who, yes, are on different campuses, but they're all going through the same thing. They're all going through needing to make new friends and create memories together.
Yeah, and those events are always really popular with our international students, so it's nice to have the opportunity to have different cultures and experience that. And if you've got friends in any of the campuses, you can meet up with them. What else are we looking forward to in 21? Have you any other favourite events that you would have this year? Did you do any online events this year that you had particular fun with?
We had a musical bingo, which as a really big music fan, was great to hear loads of different types of music and to just chill and relax as well. We did an American culture night up in Coleraine. I think that was really important for the international students who were maybe missing home a wee bit because of the pandemic, to give them a wee bit of a space for them to chill and to embed their own culture into Ulster University, which is really important to us.
That's good. So tell me, what's been one of the highlights of your year as an RA?
I had a great RA team around me this year. They were really supportive of me, and we really supported each other and brought each other together. Also, the highlight for me as a people person has really been getting to know new residents, new faces, new accents, and people from all different walks of life. So getting to meet new residents in person and over Zoom has really been a highlight.
So is there any additional perks of being a resident assistant?
I think the main perk for me is getting to know people. I think that social aspect which we missed in the pandemic at the start, getting to meet new people, has really been the biggest perk, as well as getting to know the campus really well. You know all the ins and outs and it makes you really feel at home when you have that environment around you.
Yeah, you're very much part of our ResLife family now, Matthew. Tell me about your home. What's your accommodation like? Which rooms have you lived in?
So I've lived in Errigal and I've lived in Knocklade, and I think it's been really, really good to live in both, because although they're fairly similar, it's a different place on campus to be living as well. And my room is really filled with stuff from home. I'm a big home bird, I'm a big family guy. So having the ability to have your own room, your own space, and to be able to personalise it as well, bringing pictures from home, bringing different things from home has really, really been important.
Yeah, so it's very different whenever you see a room that's empty compared to whenever you have your own belongings. And describe your room for me so that we'll give our viewers a chance to have a sense of what it's like. What's in your room?
So my room was full to the brim. I didn't think I actually noticed that until I had to take everything out at the end of the year. But my room was very much just filled with things like home. I had different pictures of family on the windowsills. I also then had my own wee carpet on the floor. When I was coming out of the shower, getting the floor wet was a nightmare, so having that as well. And also one of the essential things was a wash basket, rather than having all the clothes lying everywhere. So
tell me you're nice and tidy then, Matthew.
Very much so, try to be, yeah,
good,
anyway.
Good. Your mother will be proud. What advice do you give students coming to uni for the first time?
My main bit of advice is just get involved. There are so many clubs, societies and events that the university runs through ResLife, through the Students' Union, that it's really hard to sit back and do nothing, so really do get involved. There are loads of people trying to make new friends and build new relationships and make memories, so definitely get involved.
Fantastic. It's been lovely chatting to you, Matthew. We've given you lots of information today to help you make an informed accommodation choice. We believe we offer the best opportunity for first year students, as we have the right staff and support here as you begin your Ulster University journey. Now's your opportunity to watch our campus tours and then join us for our live Q&A session.